Okay, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us for today's Siemens Global webinar. Today's topic, we'll be looking at strategies to streamline product innovation with multi-domain BOM management. Okay, now that we have the corporate bio over with, I'm delighted to welcome as your speaker today Mr. Jamie Wilkins. I'll give a very brief bio and then we will get things underway. Jamie is currently a Team Center Marketing Manager with over 25 years of experience with MCAD and product lifecycle management tools. Over the last 20 years with Siemens, he has held roles within professional services, education services, and pre-sales solution consulting. He's obviously naturally assisting customers across multiple industries throughout the world and with the use and success of Siemens solutions to solve their unique business challenges. Okay, now that we have the bio over with, so to speak, I'm delighted to hand over to your speaker today, Mr. Jamie Wilkins.
All right, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're at around the world. Thanks for joining us today to talk about an approach to greater product innovation for your business, leveraging the power of the Siemens PLM software portfolio. Now let's start off, talk about some challenges. So regardless of the industry you're in, a common trend impacting every product developer is that products are getting more complex. I'm sure you've seen that in your industry as well, comprised of mechanical, and electrical, and software components, and especially the interface between all those three. And so some of the challenges, do some of these issues sound familiar? Schedule delays and poor market acceptance or non-compliance because requirements weren't tied to product design and delivery, or design teams that can't find or reuse the right design information when they need it, or tedious design review processes and the late discovery of issues. And that's generally when it's the most difficult and costly to change. Or the transition of manufacturing is delayed because the BOM had errors, or even worse, was incomplete, or a slow, error-prone change process that fails to account for the cross-domain impacts. So if you're seeing these issues in your business, time to rethink your approach to product development and face the challenge to become a digital enterprise. And we can help you solve those challenges. So we're not suggesting you have to revolutionize your business overnight, but what we're offering is a roadmap to help you take your first steps on your journey to digitalization. So we can help you digitalize your business with our fully integrated approach to engineering process management. It's collaborative product development across systems, domains, and departments, which will help you accelerate your product innovation, improve your product quality, and streamline the handoff from engineering to manufacturing. Now let's take those steps from the previous slide and kind of break them into some of the solutions that we offer. So we've got 5 things listed here. So we have solutions to help ensure compliance by connecting requirements to product development, or support cross-domain design management through the integration of tools, data, and processes to find, share, and reuse information, or define and share a complete understanding of the product and all its variants that streamlines the transition to manufacturing, or eliminating late-stage rework by visually collaborating and correcting issues early using the digital twin. And the final one here, reduce delays and improve quality with configurable closed-loop change processes. So now these are all important, and they're not individual. They actually work together and complement each other. So we're not going to talk about all these today. We do have some other webinars coming up that will talk more about these other topics, and I have some information towards the end about how to access those. For today's webinar, we're going to focus on this third box here. We're going to look at multi-domain BOM and configuration management, and the importance of establishing a common multi-domain bill of material, or BOM as we generally call it, across all configurations of the product and its value to manufacturing. So although manufacturing should be involved early, we want them involved as early as possible so they can help influence things and some of the decisions that we need to make. Engineering still needs to produce that full complete BOM for manufacturing to leverage for their planning and their execution activities that they need to perform. All right, so let's look at some of the challenges around BOM management. So there's some research that indicates a major impediment to smooth transition to manufacturing starts right with the bill of materials. So there's a service provider out there that reports 80% of BOMs contain errors. 40% have part errors, inconsistent content, invalid supplier data, or missing info. And 8% of them have obsolete parts. So these issues often have a root cause tied to, there's many things, but 3 things we're going to highlight. So a multi-domain process that's generating an incomplete bill of materials. So what we typically see is that customers just don't have the processes or the tools in place to generate and manage that full bill of material. And a lack of shared understanding of the product configuration and its variants. And then the big one, which is differing global design and manufacturing processes. So when they're not able to access and analyze the information early, so they can properly prepare and optimize their processes. And of course, the earlier you can discover the problem, the easier and less costly it is to fix and resolve. And then you can see the quote down at the bottom here from the Aberdeen group that states, so those that fail to adopt good BOM management practices risk adding to inefficiencies and delays. And organizations trying to adapt to the growing complexity of the products should look and address the challenge of BOM management. So that BOM is critical. If you can't do the BOM right, doesn't really matter what else you're doing. Got to get that BOM correct. All right, so what can you do about it? So, well, streamlining that transition to manufacturing requires a complete and shared understanding of the product and its variability and its downstream access to the data. And so with Teamcenter, you can leverage some of the out-of-the-box support we have for a wide variety of the MCAD and ECAD and software tools and the data and processes involved around those to ensure you can generate that complete and accurate multi-domain bill of material. And then it's easily integrated to all your other enterprise applications, MRP, ERP, and so forth. So and then your proven structures, so as you find best practices and so forth, you can leverage those as templates going forward. So we always have that common starting spot for maybe this particular type of product or this particular type of manufacturing process or this particular manufacturing process in this plant, because it could be different based upon where you're actually manufacturing the product. All right, well, with Teamcenter, so we obviously support cross-domain design collaboration. And here's just a quick look showing all the major mechanical, electronic, and electrical tools that Teamcenter is integrated with. And one thing that we do is we bring Teamcenter right into that design environment. So it's into the environment you're already familiar with. You already know how to use that particular system. So we're bringing Teamcenter into that environment for you, and then you get the benefits of PLM. So you get the benefits of PLM for example, for searching for data or finding data that you can reuse, the security of your data. You can be assured of the security of your data, checking things in and out, viewing related documents, initiating workflows, participating change, just to name a few of the typical PLM tasks that you would do. And so actually I have another webinar, I kind of mentioned this earlier, that'll focus more around these cross-domain design collaboration topics. And we'll have some more information later on about that. All right, well, let's take a look at an example. So in this example, you'll play 2 roles. So you'll play a mechanical design engineer who's working along with a PCB design engineer, and you need to work on the board layout. So as the mechanical designer, you've been working on the overall design, and now you need the board to be laid out so you can ensure that these 2 are going to work together. There's not going to be any interferences and so forth. So what you're going to see is how, as the mechanical designer, you can hand off info to the PCB designer that we can do their board layout, and then ultimately share that information back with you as the mechanical designer. So all while working within the constraints of the design. All right, so in this example, you're inside NX, and you can easily use the capabilities to find and open up your bill of material directly from NX, from Teamcenter. And so in this example here, like I mentioned, we're interested in the board layout. So you've been working on the mechanical design. It's now time to get the layout of the board. And so you're going to hand off information to the PCB designer. And so just a point of reference on this board here, there's no components that are placed. All right, so what you're going to do is export out a collaboration file. So using the NX PCB exchange that will provide the PCB designer with all the intelligent information that they need. So the board outline, mounting holes, critically placed components, etc. Now over as the PCB designer, so you kind of change your hat here for the purpose of this video. So as the PCB design engineer, using Mentor Expedition and the integration of EDM, you can open up that design in the collaboration file and begin your part placement process. So you even have the ability to bring the 3D models in there to assist with your placement, because you got to make sure the components fit. They're not going to violate some of the constraints of the mechanical design. And so it's going to prevent wasting time in design reviews and ensure you have first pass success for fit and finish. It's not going to show up at a design review, or worse, once there's prototype parts or production parts, to find out that the board doesn't fit into our design, or that heat sink collides with the body, or maybe can't service that particular component. It's going to work out these issues collaboratively ahead of time. And here you can see on the screen here some of the, during the placement process, you can get some collision feedback as far as, hey, this is going to violate some of the mechanical components that are part of that design. All right, so now as the PCB designer, you've finished your design, and you're going to send collaboration information back to the NX designer, who's then able to read that in. You'll get a listing of those various components, and then ultimately place those components inside the BOM. And so now if you look at a side-by-side window here, in essence, you have the mechanical and the electrical working together, and it's now all part of one BOM. You have the MCAD and the ECAD components together in a multi-domain BOM. Well, now that we have the MCAD and the ECAD together in one BOM, let's bring the software in here. So here's the same BOM that we just saw, same BOM. That's the drill components. We have the mechanical and we have electrical components in there. Well, now we use the Polarian ALM to generate the software. So we, in essence, merge our application development right alongside PLM, and there's bi-directional linking between our data and our processes. So you can directly link to the component in Team Center that's going to hold the software binaries. So here you're picking that embedded software component that's going to hold those binaries for you in that BOM. And you can also link to requirements as well. And you have full traceability between them. So now once you've compiled your software, you can then save those binaries into Team Center. So now you have a BOM which has the MCAD, ECAD, and software together in a single environment, which allows you to accelerate development, improve your product quality, and reduce warranty costs. So now we brought in the embedded software. You can see the embedded software on there, and here's that binary, the ultimate file that's kind of behind that component inside the BOM. All right, so some additional highlights. So additional highlights when developing the BOM are that Team Center also provides a bunch of analysis tools, such as roll-ups and version compare that can help stakeholders to review and approve changes before they're finished, and then ultimately deliver that complete engineering BOM that helps drive those manufacturing processes, the creation of the MBOM and the bill of process and so forth. And so as people are proposing changes or things have changed, you can easily account for what that change is and the impact it would have on the product. And that's whether you're in engineering or manufacturing. So maybe you're in manufacturing, you want to determine the impact of an engineering change will have across several plants for you manufacturing the product, because the impact could be different across those different plants. So with Team Center, you have that visibility and the traceability to easily and accurately determine this info. Same with engineering. Maybe you want to compare the older version of the EBOM to the newer version of the EBOM to understand, well, what changed from a mechanical standpoint or an electrical standpoint or even a software standpoint. And later on, we'll start talking about configurations. So you want to be able to compare configuration 1 to configuration 2 to understand what's the same or what's different, whether that drives a design decision or maybe even a manufacturing decision. You're going to have that information and that visibility there. All right, well, let's look at just a very short example for manufacturing. So the manufacturing engineer would use that multi-domain EBOM to develop their MBOM and then their plant-specific bill of process, or BOP, as it's often called. And you can see the buildup of the assembly. So as this video starts here, that same drill, the same JTs that we're able to leverage throughout the life cycle. And you can see the buildup of the assembly process with the mechanical and electrical and the software as this thing would be assembled down the line. So all this info, since it's in a single environment, it's easy to collaborate with each other during the development process to ensure manufacturing has everything they need for the planning and the production of the product. And it provides full traceability across the enterprise. So if there's an issue anywhere along that life cycle, you can very easily determine the impact of the issue, whether it's to requirements or mechanical or electrical or software, or the manufacturing planning, all the way down to the plant floor. All right, well, let's add another twist into this. So it's one thing if you're just going to plan and develop and manufacture one product. So maybe you offer one product and there's only one way that you sell it. Well, what if that one product has variability? How do you account for all those configurations? And those configurations could be infinite. It may not just be 3 different ways you offer the product. It could be infinite ways you offer the product. based on how it's configured. So not only how do you manage it, but how do you manage all those configurations across those multi-domains? So maybe for one configuration, the mechanical is different from another configuration, or the mechanical and the electrical is different, or the mechanical, electrical, the software, and the requirements are different from one configuration to another. How do you manage all that info? Well, once again, Team Center can come through and handle all that. So we provide a common definition of variability across that full product lifecycle. So it's not just for the engineering BOM, it's for everything. That configuration can apply from your requirements all the way down to the bill of process that you use to manufacture a particular product. So whether you're delivering a product with a defined set of supported variants or more complex products with exponential or, like I said, infinite number of possible variations and combinations, or in an engineering to order, the ETO, so that require new variants and parts and designs for every order that you get. You can make sure everyone has the right information they need throughout that entire life cycle. All right, so let's bring this all together and see how it looks. So we've talked about the importance of the multi-domain BOM with the mechanical and the electrical and software and the interface between all those three and how they work together and complement each other. We've talked about being able to manage all this information, how we can seamlessly transition down to manufacturing by delivering that complete and full BOM. And then we've also talked introducing variability to it. So how do we manage all the variability that those different products may have? Well, let's see this in action. So in this video here, you're going to be a user who needs to log in and view a bill of material and some of its related components. Maybe it's for a project that you're working on or some change you're investigating, whatever it is that may be, you'll see how easy it is to come through and access this info. All right, so using some of the suggestive search capabilities of Team Center, you can quickly and easily find the BOM that you're looking for. So you enter in what you know. Then you'll be presented with a UI to easily filter down and narrow down that the list of results until you find what it is you're looking for. Now, once you've found this BOM, you can configure it by different rules, because maybe there's times you need to look at it with maybe all the latest working components, or other times you only want to see approved components. You can very easily make these configurations to get the BOM that you're interested in, or maybe to see it by a date or a unit or serial number. You can easily configure that info. As you move along, you may need to search for various components. So if I back this video up a little bit here, you may need to search for the BOM. So you're finding a particular component in a BOM that you need to find. Where does that exist in there? So you can easily search about that, find that component. And once you've found it, additional information is just a click away. So maybe there's alternates or substitutes that you need to view. You can even configure the BOM with that substitute. You can browse additional relations to that object and explore related data across other domains like simulation or manufacturing. You also have a view into the history of previous revisions. So you have visibility into changes that were made as a result of a problem. And you can see what the solution was. And to learn more about that change, you can open it up. And this shows some of the new change tracking capability where you get a listing. The user does all the work to the BOM, Team Center tracks and documents all the changes. So you can very easily get a summary of exactly what took place to that change, what was added, what was removed, what was replaced. Maybe there's a quantity change. You have all that information right in front of you to get a full understanding of either what the change is, if you're in the process of reviewing it, or what the change was. Maybe the change has already happened, and you want to understand, well, what took place. You can come through and see the workflow that it went through and comments that people left. And then finally, you can come through and even compare it. So maybe you do want to compare that old revision and the new revision and see, well, what exactly changed inside this bill of material? Now, we talked earlier about the configuration. So it's one thing just to manage one configuration of it. What if you have to manage multiple? So in this example, you said we manage the variability of your product from very simple to complex configurations. So you can come through and pick from a predefined configuration, maybe a save variant rule as we call them, that can show different versions of your product, different configurations. And you have the power of the visualization to help you visualize what that product looks like. For more advanced, you can come through and use the guided configuration, where one selection can drive what the other choice is. So you go through and pick your power supply and your software parameters and your spindle and so forth. And each one of those choices determines what the configuration of that bill of material is going to be. And that's where we get into some of those infinite configurations that we talked about. And so then finally, you can use the visualization capabilities of Teamcenter to interact with that particular model. So take measurements or cut some sections to fully understand the makeup of those parts, see how things work together, see how things fit, and so forth. So whether it's multiple revisions or changes or the variability of the product, the configuration management capabilities of Teamcenter let you feel confident you can find what you need, track changes, fully configure your multi-domain BOM, and completely and accurately lead to faster decisions and greater productivity across the enterprise. All right, so wrapping up here, let's summarize what we've talked about. So streamlining the transition to manufacturing requires a complete and shared understanding of the product, its visibility, and early downstream access to the data. And you can see the words on the screen: manage, connect, optimize, and deliver. So leverage those out-of-the-box support for a wide variety of MCAD and ECAD software tools to manage your information and generate that complete and accurate multi-domain bill of material that's easily connected to downstream systems like ERP systems and so forth. And Teamcenter also provides that common definition of variability across the full life cycle. So whether you deliver products with just a defined set of supported variants or infinite variations or more engineering to order, so you can be sure everybody has that right information that they need. Then also Teamcenter provides analysis tools such as roll-up and compare so that reviewers and approvers can fully understand exactly what's taking place with that particular BOM, because ultimately that's going to drive the manufacturing processes for process planning, the MBOM, the bill of process, and so forth. So with that, definitely not wrapping up just yet, but I'd like to thank you for attending. We'll do Q&A in a second here. As I mentioned earlier, this is a whole series of webinars, so if you'd like to continue this webinar series and learn more strategies to streamline product innovation, you can visit us on the web, siemens.com/teamcenter. I think Jay's also going to post that link inside the chat window. And with that, we still have a little bit of time here. I'd like to open up to questions.
So it just remains for me to say thank you to Mr. Jamie Wilkins, and of course, thank you to you all for your time. With that, the session is closed. Goodbye.